Everybody lifts the first time, and I was like, challenge accepted.
That's as good as flying a fighter.
You look tired.
It's hot.
You know, you go do a timed event, you want to be the fastest guy out there, or at least top 5. You don't want to be 38. Race cars are violently fast. Day 2 of ARCA testing. Well, today started a lot faster, a lot less waiting around. Billy and Bobby wanted me in the car right out the gate. They had made some adjustments, wanted to see how those would work, and they were confident after the day prior that the car would be at least a half a second faster. Aero adjustments had been made and should work out great. The problem though is that it was windy today, like super windy. And so that changed the track conditions. You know, everybody kept saying it was a slow track today. It was gonna be a slow track today. And so I went out in the 5 and I think I did better. I think it was it was pretty fast. I mean, it felt good, all the adjustments and stuff. Got out of the car, didn't feel great, you know, and didn't feel bad. It just felt okay, you know, it felt like a good deal. And then from there, we switched to the backup car. We're trying to dial in the backup car. We made some laps, did some adjustments in between the runs. I think there were several runs. Come in, fix something, go back out, come in, fix something, go back out. And then they said, go back out. And I had assumed, because it was always a quick 5 laps, come in, change something, go back, right back out. And I'd assumed this was gonna be like that. Instead, it was session, and go back out, but then they were like, hey, we need you to draft. There's a group of cars getting together that's gonna draft. And I was the only one on pit road at the time. I had to pee. And I didn't want to be in the car anymore because I had to pee, and it was hot. So they were working on the radio to try to get a group of cars together to do a 5-car draft is what they wanted. They wanted 4 or 5 cars to make it a pack. And there was one really experienced guy that they knew that was going to be in there, and then a couple other kind of unknowns, and they just wanted me at the tail end of the pack. Well, the tail end of the pack is it's the whipsaw. The car kept overheating. I'd shut down, crank it back up because they said, oh, we're ready to go, and then shut down. And finally I said, look, let me just go run some laps and I'll come back, we'll do this later. And they're like, no, get this now. Finally they got the gaggle together. So it wasn't 5 cars, it was 4. I was number 4. And so the first car and the experienced guy go out, and then the other car in front of me wouldn't get up to speed. And I was running him down because everybody had told me, I didn't know any better. They said, run, don't miss a shift. Don't ever let up on the gas. Go all the way around the apron in 3rd gear. Well, they're taking their sweet time, and I run down the guy in front of me who's got a huge gap between him and the car in front of him. Well, the car in front of him, the experienced guy, is scrubbing the tires on the apron, and he's weaving back and forth. Well, so that builds that gap between them. So I back off because I'm running this guy down. So I shift to 3rd early, and the guy weaving back and forth, his left rear tire goes off into the grass, kicks up grass at the guy, which causes him to check up even more. And by the time we get this gaggle going, nobody's flooring it. So I start to floor it. I run up on the guy, and it was just enough of a breathe before I shifted that I lost the whole train. They got together, and I never could catch them. And we're just going around and around, and they're just walking away because it's 3 cars in a draft, and me by myself, and once you're back there, that's the end of that. So we came back in. It was disappointing because I wanted to run in a big pack. I found out later that the car that had gone off in the grass accidentally hit the kill switch and just about caused, it would have been a pileup. So I'm glad I missed that. It was fortunate to miss that. They ran into each other, but nobody wrecked. It just was kind of one of those things. But we did some more adjustments on the car, and so they wanted to see that. We had lunch, decided to go out, and this time they went to the tech stand and dropped the car to the legal limits. So lower the car, get better aero. And they said, all right, go out, have fun. So I went out, and a 2-car draft passes me, as they come around, and I just, gun it and go. And the 2-car draft, eventually I start catching them. And in 1 lap, they're half a lap. The next lap, I'm on them. And I had such a big run on them that I had to, they're like, okay, snuggle up to them. I was having to let off the throttle in the corners not to run over the guy in front of me. And the car had, it closed the distance so fast. And the spotter was later saying how in the spotter room, because they were inside today because it was cold, they were like, holy, what is that? He's going so fast. And so we kind of got some miscommunication between crew chief and spotter because it's practice, it's not a race. You got to coordinate who's drafting with which car and how they're going to do it, who's going to lead. And so I catch up to this pack, and I'm happy snuggled in the draft, even though I'm breathing the throttle. Sometimes I'm letting off the throttle because these guys are not going as fast as the car I'm in will go. And eventually the 12 car moves up high to let the car that's in front of me around, because the car in front of me is definitely faster. Well, my spotter and crew chief are trying to convince everybody else to just let me in front because I got the fastest car, and if I tow them around, we'll have the fastest lap times. But all this is lost in communication between, the game of telephone, which I can barely hear my spotter. I can only hear the crew chief in the back. When I'm on the back stretch, he's telling me stuff. So what ends up happening is the 12 car moves out the way, the other car goes ahead, and I hesitate because I don't know where they want me. So I just get up behind the white car. We walk away from the 12. Just completely leave them in the dust. And then I guess there was a language barrier because they were trying to tell the white car that was in front of me to move, and I would pass him, and that was the plan. He heard that as pit in. So randomly going down the backstretch, we're in this full up draft, he lets off, and I just about ran him over going there, and he dives down to the apron below the yellow line, and now I'm by myself. So then I just ran a couple laps, and they're like, come on in, draft's over or whatever. We made some more adjustments to the car because it's a constant. They're just trying to make this car faster. And I back out and the car dies. And I'm thinking I'm just terrible at driving this thing. The transmission's weird. I don't know. It's a thing. I get it back started. I get around the pits because you got the the clockwise flow to get out, to get on the track. And as I come back around, it dies and it won't start. And everybody in the garage is looking at me, and I'm like, whoa, 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 trying to get the thing started. Eventually it quits, the battery it drains and it won't go. So I coasted down there like, nope, something's wrong. You need to just stop where you're at. And so they pushed me to the fuel pumps. They're like, are we out of gas? What's going on? We put fuel in it, that doesn't work. We come back in.
No fuel pressure.
It just died. Wouldn't crank. I thought it was me. Hasn't worked. Turns out it's with the way it's designed, air can get trapped in the injectors and there's no way to get it out until you bleed the injectors. But they changed the fuel pump anyway. So by this point, almost the whole garage has gone home. We're the last guys on the track, so there's nobody to draft with. There's no way to get practice drafting. And that's, I think, when people look at the practice results, they'll think, oh, slow times. Well, yes, the truth data is the times, but a car running a 49-second lap is not doing that solo. They're doing that in a pack of 4 cars. The 51s and above are the ones that are running solo, and some aren't even that. I mean, I ran down 2 cars solo, so I don't think 2 cars are enough to even crack 50. I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it. Somehow sucked air. Story of my life. I don't even know what that means.
What does that even mean?
We're getting slap happy at this point.
I got the helmet. So I went out just trying to see if the adjustments we had made work. And I'm going out on the track. I'm like, why is the car pushing? I couldn't figure it out. And finally they're like, you need to pit in, you need to pit in. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do something wrong. They had forgotten to install the window, the plastic window on the passenger side, because when they were dealing with the engine stuff, they'd taken it out and they forgot to button it up. So they said, come on in pits. I'm like, oh, use this as an opportunity to practice a pit stop because they were in a pit box. So I come in downshift down the straightaway and then stop. He fixes it and then I take off. I'm like, this might be my last time on the track, and go out, and Bobby tells me, I want you to try running the bottom of the track, the entire, just the whole way. And I do that. And when I came back, he said, you were 2 tenths faster than your fastest lap by doing that. I was like, oh, wow, pretty cool. But we parked and everybody had packed up, and ARCA asked if we were still going, and I think they decided, all right, that's enough. And they put the car to bed, and that was the end of that.
That's even fit front. Fantastic.
Yeah?
Man.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that feel? Good?
Yeah. Felt real good. At first, real push through 2.
A little pushy.
Yeah.
Then what? Once the tires warmed up, it's gone.
It's gone. When I came back in,
Yeah.
I wanted to run with the window.
It was.
Yeah, 'cause it was rushing like a big dog with that window. Yeah. Yeah. When I came off the road, the push went away.
Yeah.
The discussion now is, what was this? It comes down to money, sponsorships. For me, I was out of pocket to do this as something I've always wanted to do, something I was passionate about, and if it was just a fun 40th send-off, then that's okay. It was a fun time. If it becomes something more and the opportunity to race happens, then more power. But I understand the realities of racing, and I'm not in any way thinking that this is the second coming of Dale Earnhardt. But it was a fun time, and I'm incredibly humbled to be able to race a NASCAR or a former NASCAR, an ARCA car, around the world's greatest speedway at race speeds or practice speeds. I mean, my goal was to not bend the car, not embarrass myself, not be so ridiculously slow that they're like, hey, you got to come in because you're a danger or hazard to everybody else. Get safely on the track, get safely off the track, not make the team look bad, not make any of the supporters look bad, and have a good time. And that is exactly what happened. So that was the end of Daytona ARCA practice.